Hi, Eric Gibaud, ericgibaud.com, and today I'm going to ask a question. Well, I'm going to try to answer this question. It's strange. It's a question that we still read and hear in the year 2021 and in 2020 even more, obviously because the year just started, is Canon or Nikon? So let's start. So first of all, some people sometimes they comment, they say you should clean your headrest here. And it's clean. It's just the van is 20 years old, so the plastic is really dead, you know. So this is why it looks dirty, but it's not dirty. It's actually clean. The color just fade out. Okay. So let's go to what we're going to speak about today in this video. So for me, it's really strange that still some people say Canon or Nikon or Nikon. Normally, you should say Nikon. Many people we say Nikon with Nikon. Okay, so my surprise is that some people still say that when there are many other brands like Panasonic, Fujifilm, Olympus, Pentax, Sony, so many brands. Okay, so why do they still say that? Well, I think there are two reasons. One is because the big step into the digital photography was made, well, first by Kodak when they invented the camera, but the big steps were really made by Canon and Nikon. So many people hear this name and it's like for them a guarantee of being serious and all this. So these people just show that they ignore that there are many other brands. But then I started to think why there are so many people still saying that when they obviously know there are other brands. Well, basically for a geographical reason. There are many countries like in South America or in Africa or in many Asian countries where you mainly find Nikon or Canon and sometimes Sony, but there are some countries where there are no other brands easily accessible or buyable or with technical support other than Nikon and Canon. So this is really limiting, but this is very often the reason why these people are doubting between buying this brand or Canon or Nikon and no other brand. So this is the main reason. So this video is not about what is the best brand of the two. It's basically to clear up some big mess information. They don't know exactly what is what means what name, and what this, what that. So it helps them decide. Okay. So first I want to clear a sentence, a phrase I hear very often is Nikon is for photography and Canon is for videography. And this is not true. This is not true. Both brands are great for photography. But Canon made a big step ahead in videography. So Nikon was really a bit lost videography-wise. So this is why we see many people who decide to record with a photography camera that are using a Canon one. So many people, they conclude that, oh, for video is Canon and for photography is Nikon. No, this is not true. This is both are for photographies. And then in some model, Canon is ahead compared to Nikon, and in other, Nikon is more or less equal. Okay, some is still lost. Okay, so really for photography, both brands are great, and for videography, well, Canon in some points, some models is ahead of Nikon. Okay, so but you cannot say that one is for photography and the other one is just for video. Okay, then if we look at sensor format. In reflex cameras, both brands are offering APS-C and full frame, and their optics works different. In APS-C, in Nikon, you can put a DX format or an FX format lens. In full frame, you can put an FX format and also a DX, but then the DX has a crop factor of 1.5. Okay. In Canon, on APS-C, you can put EF lenses and EFS mount lenses. On full frame, you can put only EF mount lenses. If you put an EFS lens mount on a Canon full frame, you can mount it, but then you risk to break the mirror. So it's very important that do not even try. Okay, you will see it will mount properly because it's exactly the same, but then when you trigger, you may break the mirror. So it's very important not put it on that. If we look at mirrorless, the Z or Z mount by Nikon, you have APS-C with the Z50, and full frame with the Z6, Z6 Mark II, Z7 Mark II. And then you have the mount for these lenses is Z. So they have APS-C, so they do have some lenses that are APS-C for the Z mount. For Canon, in mirrorless, they have the RF mount, and they don't have any APS-C yet in RF mount. They said it will happen, but so far they don't have. But it means that you don't have the story of APS-C lenses in RF mount so far. Okay, we'll see later, but so far they don't have it. In both cases, you can use your reflex lenses with an adapter, and in this case you can mount APS-C lenses, the EFS or the DX on Nikon and EFS on Canon. You can mount them on both, but if you put them on the full frame, in case of Canon, no other choice, but in Nikon, if you put on a Z6 for example, then you have a crop factor 1.5 on the Nikon and 1.6 on the Canon. Okay. And Canon also has another mirrorless range, which is the M mount, like the M50, M100, M200. And Nikon had one too, the J1, but it doesn't exist anymore. So it was like a compact camera with you could swap lenses, but well, it doesn't seem to exist anymore. I can't find it on the Nikon website anyway, and I saw some secondhand or old stocks, but I think that they've discontinued this camera range. Okay, so in Canon it's an APS-C sensor, and they have a different mount. On Nikon, you can actually mount on the Canon Nikon Reflex, you can mount older lenses because they did not change the mount. So many people actually use analog lens or from analog period lenses on their more recent Nikon Reflex. So it's something that may interest you to know. Okay, I don't know how far it goes, how far back it goes, but yes, you can mount them. It's not the case of Canon. Okay, Canon does not go back that far. Okay, now if you look at Nikon, when choosing a lens, it's very important to know that they have two kinds of lenses. One has an autofocus motor and one has not. So it means that if you're buying a Nikon camera in the range of 3000 or 5000 series, you need a lens with an autofocus motor, because if you don't have it, it will just not autofocus because the body has no autofocus motor. So it's really important. If you buy the 7000 series and up, then no problem, you can put a lens with or without motor, doesn't matter, because the body itself has an autofocus motor. I see that many people are completely lost with the Canon naming. Why? Because it depends on the country where you are. The camera has a name or another name. Okay, so in Europe mainly you have like the 3-figure series and the 4-figure series. They have different name in America, from Patagonia up to Alaska, and in Asia is also different. So it's important that if you're going to search some information about a camera in Google or in YouTube, you maybe need to know both names. They're exactly the same camera, so you can do a Google search to have the equivalent. But I'll give you a few of them. For example, the 4000D is called in the US or in South America T100. The 2000D is called T7. The 800, I checked to make sure not to forget any. Okay, so the 800D in Europe, in the US is called T7i, and so on. So it's important that if you see, I'm always going to search for information about the 4000D, and you want to expand your search, also search for the T100, okay, and so on. This is actually for the two entry level range of cameras by Canon. Okay, there is something that many people seem to forget. This is the equivalence of level or range. Okay, because sometimes they ask me, what is better, Nikon D3500 or Canon 800D or T7i? I say no, but this is not the same level. Okay, so it's important that you check that more or less both brands have cameras in several levels, like the entry level, the mid level, the advanced expert level, and the pro level. Okay, so it's important you check both. For example, the equivalent, I'm going to give you the main one because this is the one that most people ask me. The Nikon D3500, the equivalent in Canon is the 4000D, the T100, or the 2000D, the T7. Okay, it's more or less around that. The Nikon D5600, the equivalent in Canon would be the 800D T7i, or even the 850D T8i, but in this case the T8i is a lot more recent, so it's a bit ahead, but it's still the same level, okay, range. Okay, so if you have to compare these two, especially when comparing prices and features to see exactly what you like better. The Nikon D7500, the equivalent would be the Canon 80D, 90D, around that. Okay, maybe the 90D is a bit higher, but it's still the same range. Okay, or the D750 or D800 by Nikon, the equivalent would be the 5D Mark III, 5D Mark IV, but then it's a bit hard to match exactly where it is there. And the flagship by Nikon in reflex camera is a D6, or the and for Canon would be the 1DX Mark II. So these are the top. Okay, I speak about reflex cameras. So and so on with the mirrorless, all this. So it's important that when you're going to compare models, make sure you're comparing the same range, because otherwise you will not understand why one is a lot more expensive than the other one, because it's different range. Okay, doesn't mean that it makes a lot more, but the price will be different. Actually, it's a lot more important than you check models of camera than a brand, okay? Because you cannot say Nikon is better or Canon is better for me. So it would be more logical to say this Canon camera is better for me, or this Nikon camera is better for me. Obviously, if you're already using one of these brands and you have lenses, it's logical you keep using the same brand, because you don't want to throw away your lenses. So, but if you're going to buy a camera for the first time, don't compare brand, compare camera model. Video-wise, many people, when they want to do video, they use a photography camera and they make videos. But you realize that many videographers prefer to have a true video camera, and that is exclusively for video. So in the case of Canon, they have a video line, the C line, and they have also other video cameras. So it's important that if you want to dedicate yourself just to video, check their video line, because it may interest you better than a photography camera that you actually use for video. So if you're really there, well, so the money may be different, but check what they have to offer that may interest you also. Very often I hear that people think that Nikon lenses are better than Canon lenses, and this is not true. They both have entry level and pro level lenses, and some model will be better in one line and better in the other one. Or sometimes I hear people say, oh yeah, but this Nikon lens is 15% sharper than this Canon lens, or the other way around. And very often I just say, yes, but this is when you measure with a special gear to see really the difference in sharpness. And very often on your screen you will not see the difference. So don't pick a brand just because you've heard that such lens is sharper. It may be sharper, it doesn't mean that you will actually see the difference, okay? And sharpness is not always the most important thing in a lens, okay? So if we're speaking just about sharpness, for example, okay? So both brands have great lenses, average lenses, and some bad lenses. So that's reality, okay? Both brands do have both the whole thing of good and bad, okay? Something I hear really often is Canon colors are better. Normally they say that when they refer to skin tones, but actually it depends. It depends what you want to do, it depends how you work, depends on many things. When you pick a brand, depending on the color, it's because you do not want to work on the color in post-production. You want to have the color right straight out of the camera. First, if you know how to do a proper white balance, or you have a color checker, you can get the right color from day one, because after you have some profile and in post-production you get straight, okay, so it's not a problem. It's true that skin tone, many people like Canon skin tone straight out of the camera, but in general I think Canon and Nikon are doing both a great job with that. I think if you look at the automatic white balance, is very precise. It's a lot better than Sony, in my opinion. That's you can get colors you want, but the automatic white balance, I see it really unstable in many models. In some models, not in all, okay. The white balance is a bit, automatic white balance is a bit unstable, but in case of Canon and Nikon, I don't see the problem. If you really prefer the Canon skin tone, but you prefer the features of a Nikon camera, don't worry. If you work in RAW format or even in JPEG, you can use a profile. In RAW you will do it in post-production, in JPEG you can have some profile in the camera, but you can really get similar skin tones or colors or whatever with both brands, so this is not a problem. Obviously, if you want it straight from the camera, pick the one you really prefer. If you want to don't want to fine tune anything, well, maybe one will be better for skies and another will be better for skin tones. I don't know, but normally a camera you get to use for more things. So don't worry about the famous sentence that many people say, Canon colors. No, you can get great colors out of both cameras, both brand and any of their camera, honestly. So really, you should not pick a brand. You should pick a camera that you prefer. I prefer this one or that one. And then if we go to mirrorless cameras, if we look at the Z line, the Z line by Nikon, or the RF, well, they've made a big step forward, but obviously they were really late on this market. They were lost, not just in full frame with Sony, but also they were lost many things behind Panasonic, Fujifilm, Leica, well, many other brands that are not doing even some of them don't even do full frame. Well, nowadays Panasonic and Leica do, obviously, but I mean they were late on that. So obviously, if you check what Canon and Nikon offered like 2 years ago and what they offer now, the latest cameras, you see a big step. But it does not mean that they are up to date. There are still some things that are not as good as or could be better. So if you are in a rush of having the latest mirrorless camera by Nikon or Canon, well, pick any of the one with the same brand as you already have, and you can use an adapter, use the lenses. If you don't have any of these cameras, maybe you could check Sony. I just say Sony because if you in the dilemma between Canon and Nikon, you may be in a country where you have mainly Nikon, Canon and Sony, so I don't even speak about other brands. But honestly, if you're not in a rush, I think you should wait, because I think both brands will still better a lot. And even if the step is not as big as you could imagine when they issue their Mark III model or whatever they call them, still the price of nowadays model will drop a lot, so that would be a better opportunity. So if you're not in a rush, wait and see, okay? If you're in a rush, well, and both brands are offering good material, good gear, so some will have some advantage and some other will have some disadvantage. It depends. Check all the features. I do hope that in the future these brands that are not in many countries like Panasonic, Olympus, Fujifilm will be there, because that will help to have price dropping, because in some countries like in South America or in Africa, where the wages are really low compared to Europe or the United States, the prices of a camera is a lot higher than what we pay in Europe, okay? So I hope that if this brand could open market there, that will help to drop prices, and for these people to have better choice, more options. I hope this video helps a bit to decide what should I buy, Canon or Nikon, why, what model, well, whatever. Still, the way to clear up all this big mess that social networks put in many heads, many mind, saying better this one or better that one. No, these are some explanation. So if you feel this video may help other people, please share it on social networks. If you have not done yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's a small button down here and also a small bell. If you click on the bell, get notified when I upload a new video. My website, ericgibaud.com. If you have any question, can leave a comment below. And also I leave links of my gear on Amazon and also links to other part of my YouTube channel. Also leave a link or put a description, a link of my PayPal account in case you want to make a donation. I really thank you for that. And please take care of yourself and see you soon. Bye.